Testing, testing. Well, I hope this is working. I hope you can see the screen. Hi, Sri. Hi, Amolya. I'm making a video about the Four Nights opening just for you so you can study this opening for your tournament. Okay, let's start. Let's just start. We start out with the move E2 to E4. There we go. And black is playing E5. Now, here's something interesting, okay? There are many ways which you can get to the Four Nights opening. It doesn't have to be with E4 then E5. For example, suppose black plays the Alekhines defense, knight to F6. Then white could play knight to C3. And if black plays E5, then knight to F3 and knight to C6, and we have the Four Nights opening. Let's go back, start again, E4, E5, knight to F3. Now, suppose black plays the Petrov defense, which is also called the Russian defense, which is knight to F6. Well, of course, white could play knight to C3, and after knight to C6, we have the Four Nights opening again. Okay, let's go back. By the way, you can pause this video anytime if you want to think about something or if something's not clear. Just pause the video. Okay, E4, E5, knight to F3, knight to C6. And here's where the chess game gets very interesting, because it's very likely that if you're playing black here, that white will play bishop to B5, or white might play bishop to C4. Okay? But when you play knight to C3, it's going to be a little bit of a surprise for your opponent. Okay? Now, black usually plays knight to F6 here. And now white plays bishop to B5. Okay, so I want to just go back one more time. One more time. We won't keep doing this, but just to show you that if we start with the Ruy Lopez, we could also transpose into the Four Nights opening if black plays knight to F6. Okay, let's come back. We're not going to keep jumping back, but I wanted to show you it's important, the idea of transposition. It means you get to the opening position that you want. It just comes from a different order of moves. Let's go back. The usual order of moves in the Four Nights. Okay? Now, when you play your knight to C3, black can play a couple of different things. Black could play knight to F6, and then we have the Four Nights. Okay? But suppose black does not play NF6, right? Suppose black plays the very logical looking bishop to C5. Oh boy, black just fell into a trap. Can you see the trap? You can pause the video. It's the old take the king pawn trap. Knight takes E5. Wow. And after black replies with knight takes E5, D4. And this is much better for white. The material is going to be even, but white has much freer game. Okay, let's go back. Knight to C3. And we said that it's a mistake for black to go bishop to C5. He falls into the trap, and then you play knight takes e5, right? Okay, and knight takes knight, d4, you get your piece back. Black might get the pawn back, but it's a much better game for white. Okay, after knight to c3, black cannot play bishop to c5, but black might play bishop to b4. And if black plays bishop to b4, white can play knight to d5. Okay, and this is good for white. You're threatening the bishop. You're threatening to play knight takes b4. And if the knight takes knight, you can win the king pawn. So go back to knight to c3. The other move for black is g6. And that's not bad, but we're going to cover that in another video. The best thing for black is to play the 3 knights. Okay, so if you're black in this position, play knight to f6. Okay, and at this point, white can play a few things. Do not play bishop to c4, because guess what? If you play bishop to c4 now, then you fell into the trap. Knight takes e4. Knight takes knight. d5. And it's better for black now. Okay? So here we are, going back. It's white's move. Do not play bishop to c4. But another good move white could play is called the Scotch 4 knights game. You can play d4. We'll do that in another video. Okay? And another move white can play is g3. We'll do that in another video. But for now, we're going to play the main move, bishop to b5. Okay? Now, there's a number of things black can play here, and we can't cover everything in one video, but let's just follow the game here. What happens if black plays d6? Okay? Then white should play d4. Now, remember, in all the e4 openings, you try to play d4 for white. When you can play d4 and you do not lose the e pawn or the d pawn. Okay, let's see what happens now. We have d4. Black takes the pawn. White takes the pawn. And guess what? The knight on c6 is pinned. Cannot capture the queen, because a pinned piece is a paralyzed piece. So black tries to trick white. Black plays bishop to d7, because now black can take the queen. Okay? Now, the best move for white here is queen to d3, but white played a pretty good move. Bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, bishop to g5, bishop to e7. And now, if white wants a quieter game, white will castle on the king side. But white wants a fighting game. White castled on the queen side. And these are the most exciting games in chess, when one side castles on one side and the other side castles on the opposite side. Then you're going to have an attacking game, usually. Black takes up the challenge and castles on the king side. And now white plays e5. And what black should do here is take the pawn, and then white would take the pawn. And if black plays bishop to d6, white can come back like this. And this would be a very good game for white, but black has his chances. This would be a fighting game. I would say white has a small advantage. White's going to move the queen to h4, but black made a mistake. He's too passive. After e5, black played knight to e8. Okay? Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, rook at h to e1, and black played a logical move here, but it turns out not so good. Bishop takes f3, g takes f3, black played queen g5 check, white played f4, and then black played queen to h4. And there's a couple things white can do here. White played rook to g1. Okay? Now, black got worried after rook to g1. And black made his game worse. Okay? Black played g6. Oops, sorry about that. I went all the way back here. Black played g6. And then white took the pawn. Black took the pawn back. And white played a very logical and strong move. Knight to d5. Bring your pieces into the center. And look at white's game. The queen is in the center. The knight is in the center. So black played knight to f5. And white played queen to e5. Now, black should play here c6. And if black plays c6, he can stay in the game. White would play the beautiful move, rook to g4. Can you see why? Pause the video and see why. Okay? And then white would continue keeping an aggressive game. For example, the game might go like this. Queen to h6. Knight check. King to h8. Rook to d7. Queen to g7. Rook takes b7. Rook at f to d8. b3. a5. a4. c5. Rook to g1. Knight to d6. Rook to d7. Rook takes d7. Knight takes d7. Queen takes e5. F pawn takes e5. Knight to f5. Knight takes c5. And wow, white is really winning here. White has two pawns and a better position. So if black played the best move in this position, c6, white would still be winning. But black made a really bad mistake. And now I want you to pause the video and find a win for white. There's a winning combination here. If you look at every check and every capture, you'll find it. Pause the video. Okay? I'm going to play the move now, so if you want to keep looking, pause the video again. Okay, the first move is knight to e7 check. King to h8 is forced. Well, black could play queen takes knight, but you lose your queen, right? King to h8. Queen takes g7 check. Wow. King takes queen. And now the winning move for white. You see it. Knight to f5 check. The pawn is pinned. A pinned piece and a pinned pawn is a paralyzed piece. It can't move. The king moves anywhere. The knight takes the queen. And lo and behold, at the end of the day, the end of the combination, white is a whole piece up. Okay? White has an easy win. Okay, so that's the four knights opening introduction. E4, E5, knight to F3, knight to C6, knight to C3, knight to F6, and we're going to play bishop to B5. And this is a good game for white. If you're black in this position, play knight to d4. It's the best thing you can do. Okay? If you're white in this position, you play bishop to g5. I want you to take your time on every move and remember that get your king safely castled, either kingside or queenside. Develop your pieces and play an aggressive middle game, just like the game that we saw. Develop your pieces, bring them into the center, and then start your attack. Okay, Sri and Amolya, wow, I probably will not see you Sunday because of the tournament. Good luck. Take your time. That's the most important thing. Do not hurry. Every move, before you make the move, look at 3 different moves you can make and then pick the best move out of the 3. Okay? Good luck, and I will see you soon, and you can tell me about the tournament and show me your games. Bye now.